Alright, we're back. We're doing a follow-up to a previous tier list we made. It was Winter 2025 Isekai / Power Fantasy. So we're a little late on this. Actually, we're a little bit more than a little late, but it's because I was behind on Zenshu, like a few episodes, and I wanted to kind of make this where when I'm at like a similar point for all of these, we're basically like caught up to everything minus the ones that I dropped. And yeah, I was kind of busy on the weekend, so I didn't get a chance to do that. But we're here, better late than ever. Even though, you know, like some of these things only, some of these shows only have like 2 episodes left. Some of these still have 3 or 4, so, you know, we're here. Anyways, before we begin, we're gonna kind of clarify just a couple of things. I will link the previous one in the description, but to kind of summarize what exactly we're ranking here. It's anything that falls under the Power Fantasy umbrella. So like Isekai, I got banished from my party for blah 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 blah, or anything that has like kind of game-like elements like status windows, skills, stuff like that, because you kind of like watch them for like similar reasons, right? And we got kind of talk about the tiers here. S would be, you know, best of the best. A's kind of just a step below, but still like very enjoyable. B, kind of only watch if you're like really into this genre, or if it like kind of fills like a very specific niche. And we got dropped here, or will drop. So at this point in the season, since we made it like this far and anything, I don't think I would drop anything at this point. With like, you know, 2 episodes left, I don't see the point. Might as well just see things to the end. But you never know. You never know. And then D is some of these things here have had like for season 2s. And yeah, just like it says here, I didn't finish season 1, so I did mention in the previous one I wanted to catch up on Ishura, but unfortunately ever since I started recording, like that just takes up like a lot of times, so I wasn't able to. So unfortunately Ishura is still here. I mean, the idea is still there. Maybe we'll try again for the end of the season 1, or I don't know if there's ever Ishura season 3. We'll try again then. But yeah, unfortunately it is still here. Start of Birth, that's the 4-minute commercial isekai. Yeah, this typically isn't what we're looking for in these types of shows, so this is still here. And then the other one was My Happy Marriage. If you don't know what this is, I explained it in the previous video too, but just to quickly re-summarize, this is like known to be just like a romance, but there also are supernatural elements to it. I don't know if they actually like focus on that at all, or if like season 2 and the end of season 1 is kind of just all romance. So I don't actually know. Maybe this doesn't belong here at all. But yeah, the idea is just like she technically is banished in some way. Like her family doesn't want her, and they marry her off to some like military guy that's like misunderstood. But apparently she's a descendant of some clan that has really strong powers. So that's kind of why that was included here. But like I said, I don't know if that actually is ever focused on or not. But yeah, unfortunately we're not caught up with that either. So I think we could begin now on the other stuff. Okay, first one here is Mastering Magic. I feel like I'm gonna say this a lot for everything that we put in here, but just like the tier says, it's good enough. Yeah, the plot's whatever, the characters are whatever, but the way they interact with each other, and there's like these 2 twists that happen at the end of both episodes where I kind of gave up on where like, you know, it just like threw me off to the point where like I'm kind of curious to see what else crazy shit they kind of pull off here. So I'm still kind of intrigued in the upcoming episodes. So yeah, well, I think this is fair to put it. Like I don't think that anything else about it is like I don't think there's anything else about it that could elevate it to A tier here, but like I said, it's good enough. Possibly the greatest alchemist of all time. Last time this was B, but honestly, I'm gonna move this to A for this tier list. I think on minimum this stayed the same, but I do think that now that we're kind of like entering the time overlap and we're kind of moving forward with the plot, I think like now I'm actually getting pretty invested into it. I think character interactions are good. I've said before, I do like bright designs, bright colors, lots of bright colors and lots of different colors. So this does check the boxes. Like main character is kind of bland, but I don't know. I think the cast overall is pretty fun. And like I said, I think that now that the plot's moving forward, I'm kind of interested to see where it goes. So we'll put it in A for now. Headhunted to Another World. Unfortunately, I did drop this. One thing I said in the previous video, the previous tier list, was a lot of these shows, you know, because they have like very generic plots. They kind of have some like gimmick that they rely on to keep the people interested. And I think this one kind of just fell off. The idea is that, you know, the main character, he's just a manager, so he kind of gets other people to do like he tries to like help other people realize their potential, I guess. Gets other people to do the work, and he's kind of the one like kind of moving the pieces. It's kind of interesting at the start, but I don't know, maybe the more recent episodes gonna move a different direction and it gets more interesting, but I don't know, the point that I was at, I kind of lost interest, so I ended up putting it here. But I will say there is a point at the end of March where some of these series will finish early, because not everything is like aligned, right? Some things started before others, so they'll end earlier too. There's a chance, since I don't know, kind of just if I remember correctly, I got the furthest for this out of everything that I dropped. So if I did have to pick something up like at the end of March, it might be this. I probably wouldn't like add reactions for this. I'd kind of just watch it on my own, but at least I'd have something to say for the final tier list. But yeah, this is dropped for now. I left my A-rank party. You know what's crazy? Out of every show here, out of all of these, including the big names, this is actually what I'm looking forward to the most. And because of that, I'm gonna have to put that in S. I don't know, okay? Like, kind of similar to Creator's Alchemist, like it does like, it kind of, like all my personal checkboxes, it does like well, right? Like, I think the character interactions are really funny. I like the designs, over, like, not just the characters, like overall. And I don't know, something about it, it's just really fun to watch and fun to like talk about it. And I don't know, maybe that's why, like, maybe it's coming through in the reaction videos, but like, funny enough, this is actually probably like the most overall successful series on my channel so far, and you know, the bar for that's pretty low, but still, I mean, that is a thing. It's also 2 core, so you know, this we can progress this into the next season. But I don't know, I'm really enjoying this so far. Yeah, like the plot's okay, but I think the character interactions are really what's carrying it for me. Moving on, next is Beheneko. So this is one of those ones that I was talking about, like gimmick. That kind of rely on a gimmick. Well, the whole idea of this is like, it's just like so unhinged that you kind of just want to watch it for that. Like, I don't know, maybe later on this does end up having a plot, and then you can say this is like Redo of a Healer, where, well, you know, maybe the plot wasn't that bad. But I don't know. For now, like, once the comedic value of like the unhingedness wears off, I don't know. There's not much reason to watch this anymore. So we didn't really make it that far in this. Yeah, this was dropped pretty early. Next is Farmagia. I think Farmagia is the lowest rated thing here on my anime list. If it's not the lowest overall, it's definitely the lowest out of all of these. But I think it's like at least bottom 3. The question is it that bad? So this was dropped too. The character designs are by Fairy Tail, and you know, you might think that that's enough to carry it, because I think this was an adaptation of a game, right? And I don't know if like the game is supposed to be for kids. It kind of did give off those vibes, like the story gave off those vibes. But I remember there was like one interaction. I don't remember what the interaction was, but there was like an interaction with 2 of the characters that kind of made like a kind of like an adult joke. And I was like, huh. I don't know. I feel like there's like a few things missing from this that could if I don't know if the plot was just slightly more interesting, this could be a good enough show. But I don't know. Yeah. After a couple of episodes, I just wasn't feeling it, and yeah, this will probably be the bottom of C. Alright, next is From Bureaucrat to Villainess. This was low S, previous tier list, but to be honest, like the last few episodes were kind of on the more boring side, to be honest. Still like overall enjoyable series, but I did mention this during the reactions too, right? Like we had like a kind of the previous, not this week's episode, the episode before this, we spent a lot of time on kind of like the workings of our household, which I don't know, it's possible that like stuff like that becomes irrelevant later on. Like we only have like 2 or 3 episodes left. It's possible everything comes together and then like we can kind of shoot back up. But even the previous episode too, right? Like there were kind of small things from there. There kind of were small things from the past 2 episodes that are like pretty big deals, but like they were such like in terms of like how much time they took up, it was like so minor that I don't know, it's overall like the episode just wasn't like the greatest. So unfortunately this has dropped down from S to A for me, and it might be crazy to say that even this is higher right now, but the way for me to think about it is like, what am I looking forward to more next week? To be honest, I'm actually gonna say I don't know, I'm gonna say that I'm looking forward to Greatest Alchemist more than this. But like I said, once things start coming together, which it should soon, right? Like the season's almost over. This might move back up. All right. Next is Nutmaster, Fruitmaster, whatever you want to call it. You know, for 99% of people, this would be here, right? Most people drop this like after episode 2, maybe even 1. But for me, if you haven't seen the reactions, you might see the thumbnails and the titles and can tell that this pink-haired girl in the back is holding this show together for me. And am I too much of a gooner to say that this alone makes it more enjoyable than some of the other stuff that's going to go here? I don't know, you tell me. But this kind of checks a lot of the boxes that I was talking about before, right? Bright designs, bright colors. If anything, this is the most colorful anime out of all these. I don't know. And honestly, the character actions are fun. Like, yeah, the plot's pretty ass. Like, if you saw my previous one, I was trying my hardest to defend this, right? Like, on why he's not eating infinite skill fruits, like, just, like, devouring them by day. But, I don't know, at this point, I can't defend it anymore. Like, the last episode, too, like, he's like, oh, I want to get stronger, but he's just, like, swinging a sword. But it's like, no, bro, like, you've at this point, you've already eaten fruits. You know you know how to deal with the backlash from it. I don't know. And the production's pretty bad, too. But, like I said, the kind of stuff, those other things that are like kind of personal check boxes, it kind of fits it for me. So it's like the tier says, good enough. Alright, moving on. We got solo leveling. Would there be any reason to move this down from S? Probably not, right? Like, you know, the last episode was kind of a more emotional one, but even still, like, right? Like, if you're not into that, the production was still there. It's just like different, right? It's not everything has to be like constant fights. But when we did have the fights in the previous episodes, it was still top tier, right? This is top tier production. If you want to like criticize some of the other aspects, which like I can't agree with it, right? Like, I think this is basically does the power fantasy aspect as good as it gets. Some of the other aspects of writing, like the side characters, you know, don't really match the power fantasy part, but it's still good enough to like put up here, right? You know. The power fantasy aspect is mainly why we're watching this, so when it comes to that, it can like it's pretty much like can pretty much hang with the best of the best. I don't see a reason to not put it in S. All right, next is Welcome to Japan myself. So I ended up dropping this too, like shortly after the previous list. I think this is like Headhunted. The gimmick kind of wore off. I don't know if like in the more recent episodes this is similar. I don't know if like it picked up or something like. I don't know, there's a tonal shift, and then now all of a sudden it's like clicking really hard. I don't know. But, you know, like I said, come the final weeks of March, if I start running out of things, because like some of these finished, and I kind of just want to like pick up more shows, it's possible I come back to these. We'll see what other people are saying, you know. But for now, yeah, kind of the gimmick wore off, and it just became like two slices of lifey, and I don't know, that's not really what we're down for. But yeah, I don't know, the gimmick kind of wore off pretty quick, and I don't know, just wasn't vibing with it at the time. But since we did make it like about halfway, I'd be down to finish it if there's enough hype around kind of how it ends. We'll see. Alright, Guild Receptionist, kind of like Bureaucrat to Villainess. I think the last couple of episodes kind of bumped it down for me. This one not as hard, because I think this one didn't rely on the gimmick too much, because you know, when you kind of hear the premise, you might think, oh, okay, it's just gonna be 12 episodes of her trying to hide her identity, but they kind of pivoted to that quick, right? Like by this point, most of the main cast already knows who it is. I think just her coworkers don't know, right? So at this point, it's like, when does it become fully public? And the thing is, they're trying to like go into plot, but the plot isn't really that interesting as of yet. I don't know. It's possible that it gets more interesting and we can bump it back up, but at the time of recording this is a Friday. I didn't watch the current episode yet. It's actually, at the time of recording, it's not out, but I'll watch it as soon as it comes out. So, you know, I don't know if today's episode is like really hype. It's not I'm not gonna re-record this and change the opinion, so just keep that in mind. But for now, this will probably be the top of A. I'm still enjoying it a lot. Like I'm still enjoying these three a lot, right? Like the tier is called great, so it's still good, you know. Next is Magic Maker. We never did end up picking this back up. I did mention that I don't remember if I dropped which one I dropped first, but I mean I think these are like roughly the same. I did mention like the premise is really interesting to me. Like I'm very curious to see how they kind of like make magic a mainstream thing. But it's just like all the stuff kind of surrounding the show with like the incest and also like them being like super young. I don't know if there's like ends up being a time skip or whatever, but just like a lot of the stuff surrounding it just wasn't that interesting to me. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really curious, like, because the magic is like based on like power of love or something, right? Like, how does that become mainstream? Like, are kind of the loner people of the world just never gonna be able to use magic? I don't know. I could see like now I could see myself like hard binging this like at the end of the season. I probably wouldn't do reactions to this either. I don't know, unless it's like really hype or something by the end. I don't know, but I don't know. We'll see. Middle-aged shopper. I think this one was A before, but to be honest, like this one fell off. I'd say I put this here. Like I did say at this point, I wouldn't drop anything because we kind of made it like far enough. But I don't know if like someone like gun to my head, you have to drop one show. It'd probably be this. Production. I don't know if the production was always bad from episode 1 or whatever, but like yeah, the production is pretty like. The production is like so bad that it's like actually entertaining. Like it's kind of goofy. Like some of the way stuff looks, it's like really goofy that it's actually funny to look at. The character interactions are okay. I mean, they're kind of funny too. You know, it's kind of entertaining to see like who will the main character bang. Every time we get introduced to a new girl character. Yeah, I don't know. The plot's whatever. The last episode was like kind of weird, and like I don't know what the point of like half of it was, but I'd say I'm looking forward to it the least out of everything here, like for next episode. But you know, like I said, tier title is called good enough, and I don't think we'd drop anything at this point, so it'll be here. All right, Red Ranger Isekai. This one was low S, and I'm still gonna put it there. I'm still really enjoying this. I think the last two episodes, but specifically the last episode, which was kind of like a flashback episode, and I'm like, as you can tell by this tier list, right? Like a lot of this stuff, like I'm watching this show because it has Isekai in its title. I'm not really big into like Sentai stuff. I never was, even as a kid. And a lot of people are like coming into reaction channels and like dropping comments for people that are unfamiliar with the Sentai stuff, like the references from like last episode and even the previous one, right? Like for people like me that aren't familiar with it, apparently they're referencing a lot of stuff and it's just going over my head. So I really do appreciate people letting me know. You know, even if I'm not familiar with the Sentai stuff, it helps like add to the appreciation of the production, you know. But even still with that, like I think the plot's cooking enough that like I'm still very interested in what's coming, and you know the production's still good. You know, the fact that they went through like such lengths, like someone dropped a comment and told me like everything that they did for like the previous episode, and I was like, holy shit, they actually went through that. Like it's good, you know. So we're gonna keep it lowest for now. All right, strongest appraiser. This is another good enough show. The question is, where in here? I don't know. I'd say I'll put it here because, like I said, for Mastering Magic, like there is like I'm curious to see what kind of like fucked up shit they can come up with for the next couple of episodes. Strongest appraiser, like I don't know. I can't really come up with anything good to say, but I also can't come up with anything bad to say, right? Like I don't think saying something's like mid is like bad, right? Like character interactions are fine. Plots. Like I don't know if we had to like come up with stuff to say. I don't know. I'd say like character interactions are like fine, right? Like it's for most of the time it was just like a waifu collector show. But the last couple of episodes, like they're trying to do some plot. Even though we have like one more pair to meet based on the opening, they're trying to like introduce some villains and like some plots. But I don't know. It's just not hitting. Like at this point, like do we care about what's happening? Probably not. So yeah. Like I said, tier title is good enough. It's a good enough show. Alright, next is Zenshu. Okay, so Zenshu is the reason why this tier list came out late. I did say last tier list, right? Like, a lot of people kind of think that this wasn't doing well because despite having good production, it has a female lead and her power is just like drawing. That definitely does contribute to it a bit, I'm sure. But for me, like, I think part of it was also the fact that the actual plot was since like she's isekai into like some like old school type fantasy world, and it's not like there was like a twist on that, right? Like it's pretty much like a standard. It just wasn't hitting for people. I do think that by like episode 6, once like the plot starts to pick up and like it starts to become like pretty emotional, we get like a lot of emotional aspects with like Justice and now whatever happened to QJ. I think it's picking up. So I think that people that dropped it should give it another chance. We'll see what happens by the end of it, but for now, I'll say it's still A. I think at this point, okay, now that we have to kind of like micro it and like find out, okay, where in A, I think this is when the other stuff do come into play, like the fact that her powers, like, you know, not like the most interesting. But like, you know, the production is still great. They are using a lot of animation, but I mean, it's whatever. I think everything else is like, I don't want to say good enough because then that would make it sound like it's here, but like it's better than these. So I think it's worthy of staying in A. And now we got the two things that are coming back that were on break. Danmachi. I'm really enjoying Danmachi. I think, you know, if we just look at just the episodes that count as 1 to 2025, I think all of it has been like really hype. Even if you factor in like the ones from the end of last year, I think this is definitely S tier worthy. The question is, more than Solo Leveling? Okay, if we look at just the episodes from February onwards, I'm gonna say yeah, because like I really enjoyed the fight and like how a lot of the storylines are coming together. Yeah, because you know, I've always enjoyed Danmachi, but for me it was like never like good enough for that I want to like go and like read the light novel. Like I was never like dying to know, but like now season 5 has been so good that like I kind of want to. And I heard that like I think there's not much more content after this. Like there hasn't been a light novel in a while, or like we're kind of caught up at this point. It's kind of unfortunate. There's like a lot of like side stuff. I don't know, maybe it's worth checking that out, but yeah, I don't know. This season has definitely got me fully aboard the Danmachi hype train. And the last one here is ReZero. Okay, if we just count the episodes that are part of the season, then for me this would be the top of S. This is probably the thing that I've been enjoying the most overall. I think, you know, they went on break for so long. Not so long, but they went on break, and it was worth it, right? Like if they went on break specifically so that they could get us this level of production, like even with like some of the more chill fights, right? Like apparently the Liliana fight wasn't like that popular, but I don't know, I really like that one. Like even like the scene where the building that she was standing on broke and she was still playing her instrument and then the song continued. Like I don't know, that was actually like super hype for me. I don't know, are they gonna release that song? I know they usually release Rie Takahashi's intro songs. Does this count as an intro song? I know it's not her, but I don't know, I feel like they put in enough effort that it should count, right? But similar to Danmachi, like I always enjoyed ReZero, but the previous seasons were not like super peak for me, to be honest. But this one is, like, honestly, now, like, these two I want to read the light novels, but this one, ReZero actually has more, apparently, right? But the thing is, like, we're like 20, the content that we've covered in the anime is like 20 light novels worth, right? And I know whenever, like, okay, this is kind of like sidetrack now, this isn't tier list related, but whenever you have like source readers, right? They always say like, oh, start from the beginning, because, you know, even if it's a good adaptation, they still cut out a lot. But like, I feel like people who say this like have a severe lack of like awareness. It's really not that simple, especially when you have 20 volumes, right? Like, I consider myself a fast reader. Like, if the ReZero light novels are about like average size, then it would take me like about 4 hours each. And I think about it, that's like 80 hours. Like, do I want to spend 80 hours on something that, even if they cut out like a lot of the middle stuff, I still know for the most part what's gonna happen? And it's like, for some people, they like, it's not that simple, right? Like even if it's like really, like, even if the stuff that's like in between is still really good, like, because we know what's already gonna happen, like some people just can't like get like good enjoyment out of that, you know? So it's not that simple. I feel like we'll figure something out probably by the end of the season, or I is it like 8 more episodes after? Was it? I vaguely remember it was supposed to be like an 888 split or something like that, but I don't know. We'll see. I do want to pick these up at some point. But yeah, I guess this is what we ended up with. Like I said, we'll do a follow up to this at the end of the season. It's possible that we do pick up some of these back up once some of these start to finish up. But yeah, notable changes from last time. Headhunted and Welcome to Japan myself were both A, now they're dropped. So those two are tied for the biggest jumps, I guess in the down direction. I left my A rank party, went up from A to S. These two dropped, and yeah, alright, yeah, and I guess this is our opinion on how these Power Fantasy shows have played out for the past 2 months and some change. We are doing reactions to all of the ones that we're watching, except Danmachi. I don't know, I just didn't think it was like worth doing Danmachi at the time, and then there was like so few episodes left. I was like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, if you're interested in kind of more in-depth how I feel about some of these shows, you can kind of watch. You can check out the playlist. We got playlist for everything else here that we're still watching. And then yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you have any agreements, disagreements with your list? Like I said, we'll do a follow-up in a few weeks, and we'll definitely do one for upcoming season 2. And yeah, if you made it this far, thank you so much. Consider subscribing if you do want to see more content. And yeah, I will catch you guys next time.